Welcome to another Timberwise Property Focus podcast, giving you helpful advice on caring for your property. In this podcast, we are going to look at the most mysterious of fungal decays, dry rot, and how it can have a devastating effect on properties. I'm Phil Lund, and today I'm joined by Managing Director of Timberwise, Mark Edwards, who is going to give an insight into the most serious of all wood-rotting fungi. So, Mark, to ease us gently into the world of dry rot, can you tell us a little of its history?
Thanks, Phil. Dry rot started life as early as the 1700s as Merulus lacrymans, meaning tears of the blackbird. By the 1820s, it had changed its name to Serpula lacrymans as a result of the snake-like growth of the fungi and the tear-like droplets of water which appear. Dry rot is now often referred to as building cancer. Such is its fearful reputation for feeding on timber.
So it's been a problem for property owners for quite a while then?
It certainly has.
What's the best plan of attack for homeowners if they suspect they have dry rot in their home?
Well, before we look at the treating of dry rot, it is worth looking at the life cycle. That way we have an understanding of what this fungi needs to survive.
OK, Mark, talk us through the life cycle.
For fungal decay to begin, it requires water to penetrate wood, which then allows bacteria and microfungi to colonize, resulting in the partial breakdown of the cell structure of the timber. The timber then becomes more porous and potentially wetter. If the moisture content is sustained above 30%, then dry rot can colonize and germinate, which inevitably leads to decay.
How does dry rot form on the wood?
Dry rot spores are airborne. This means that all properties are susceptible to attack given the right conditions. Once germination is established, the fungus can spread rapidly, even through thick masonry walls, in search of timber, causing potentially widespread and extensive damage.
So the spores are present everywhere, even in the room we're sat in today?
Yeah, that's right, Phil. The spores are in the atmosphere all the time, or what we call omnipresent. For dry rot to grow, it needs three elements. These are water, air, and a food source, such as timber. The fungus obtains its food from the timber by breaking down the cell walls, which ultimately results in the loss of strength, and eventually the overall collapse of the timber. The life cycle starts with a spore landing on timber with the correct moisture content, typically 30%. As the spores land, they germinate and produce what is known as hyphae growth.
Can you explain a little about hyphae growth? What is it?
Well, hyphae growth is the root of the spores, and is a similar process to that of placing seeds in compost. The hyphae then mass and colonize together to produce mycelium growth. This is white and almost fluffy in appearance. After a period of time, the dry rot becomes stressed. This happens when one of the three necessary elements for growth, water, air or food, is removed, or if the dry rot is in the vicinity of light.
So dry rot suffers with stress?
Yes, that's right. Even the toughest of fungi get stressed. When stressed, the dry rot produces a sporophore or fruiting body, which is a self-reproduction organ. This allows the spore-bearing surface to shed spores into the atmosphere so that the new spores can land again, hopefully in the right environment to carry on germinating and extending the growth of dry rot.
Now that's clever. I'm guessing then the spread of dry rot can be rampant if the conditions are right.
It certainly can be. Its feared reputation for causing damage in properties is well deserved. Realistically, there can be a growth rate of around 2 metres per year. However, in a laboratory, growth of up to 4 metres per year has been recorded.
So now we have covered how dry rot spreads and what conditions it needs for growth. How can dry rot be treated?
The origin of most dry rot attacks is usually associated with a severe source of water ingress. For example, a leaking gutter or a cracked downpipe. The source of the incoming water into the property has to be identified and steps taken to prevent further water ingress. Secondly, any infected timber needs to be removed. Without either food or water, the fungus can't grow and will eventually die. Where decay is limited and wood and masonry are dry, or will rapidly dry once the source of water has been eliminated, then we may leave such timbers in situ if deemed structurally sound. This minimises the amount of repairs necessary and maintains the structure of the original building. This is particularly important in the case of historic and listed properties. Treatments are used as a secondary measure in the control of dry rot. Any treatment of timber and masonry must, though, be capable of resisting the rot for at least the period of drying down. This could take several years in some cases.
So, Mark, if a homeowner suspects they have dry rot, what should they do?
In the first instance, it's very important that a survey of the infected area is carried out by qualified surveyors. The surveyor will be able to diagnose the type of fungal decay and recommend the appropriate action needed to remove the problem, safely and with minimum disruption. For more information on dry rot, or to arrange a dry rot survey, visit the Timberwise website, www.timberwise.co.uk, or give us a call on 0800 99 11 00.
Well, Mark, thanks for your valuable insights on dry rot. I certainly know much more about dry rot now. For more good advice on caring for your property, check out our other podcasts or visit www.timberwise.co.uk. You've been listening to a Timberwise Property Focus podcast. Expert advice on caring for your property from the property care experts. Thank you.